Although I get a lot of people going, oh, I chopped it, I flipped it, you can't tell. And I always can tell. So you have to remember when we started this, there weren't any rules, there weren't any laws, there was nothing. We kind of created this. Now we try to follow copyright as close as we can, but people are always trying to push the envelope or see what they can challenge. If you have a sample in your song and you have this belief or attitude that because it's free, you don't need to clear it, you're wrong. You've sampled a song, and by sampling it, it's making the song what it is. And although you're putting it out there free, which you then deem as promotional, you're still building up something. You're still earning something. You're still gaining something. You might not be gaining revenue, but you're getting fans. You're gaining recognition. You're gaining attention. And so, in essence, that's bringing you to the next level, which does earn revenue. So the sampled copyright holders are like, yeah, you need to clear our stuff. Now, like, when we did something with Childish Gambino, where he used to sample, but it wasn't going to be released as an audio configuration, it was for an advertisement, we still cleared the sample. We asked to waive the fees until it became an audio configuration, but then huge fees were paid for the advertisement, and that was during the Grammys, that commercial he did with Google. You have to recognize, you have to pay for any samples if you're going to do something with that song. The sample police are not just the copyright holders anymore. Everyone is a musicologist. You know, everyone uses who sampled, and I don't know how many times I've had to correct them, say, you know, that's not an accurate claim on that website. Granted, there's a lot of accuracy on there. And they get that information also from the albums where we're giving the proper credit. All right, where did that hey come from? Where did that horn hit come from? So even if it's one note of a horn hit that we don't think they played, we ask them, where did you get that horn hit from? We never go to the recording artist or the writer directly, maybe 1% of the time if they own it themselves. Most artists are signed to a record label, and the label has the rights, and then the label, per the artist contract, determines whether they need to get artists for consent or not. The same on the publishing side. Per a statistic poll that I did in asking most of the publishers and labels that I deal with, it's a 50-50 whether they have to even get secondary consent or not. So with that being said, when we approach people, we put it all in writing to them. We send a letter of request, we describe what the sample is, and then we determine, you know, we usually let them make that determination as to what they want as compensation, so we don't piss anyone off or come in too low. But if they come in really high, we'll say, hey, can we bring that quote down? There is a list of do not samples. Anita Baker is one of them, who I have so much respect for. She doesn't want her song altered or changed. You know, we were working with Faith Evans, who has a relationship with Anita Baker, who liked the song but stood her ground. We obviously, Tracy Chapman doesn't like to be sampled, but people don't always listen to when I advise them of that. Led Zeppelin is not one for liking to be sampled. So there's quite a few that make it difficult or expensive. I'm never going to say that there's someone who is difficult to do a deal with, because if I have to go back to them and deal with them, I don't want it to be even worse. If you don't have a lot of money but you want to sample, what do? What's really exciting that I've recently become involved with is TrackLib. TrackLib gives you the ability to sample pre-existing copyrights. I mean, it's got Impeach the President, but it's also got some original Philadelphia Groove. It's got VP Records. It's got Brunswick. You know, Brunswick is the label that Beyonce sampled many years ago. So we've got some great stuff in there. The Middle Child, J. Cole's #1 single, samples from TrackLib. What's amazing about it is your prices are right there. So, you know, your low end is like the $50. Your high end obviously is $2,500. If you're in the real sample world, if you're Khaled, Drake, Marshall, Jay-Z, the fees that you're going to be paying are between $2,500 for an interpolation, and then if it's a master use, you can be paying up to $10,000. That's just as advances or non-recoupable fees against a percentage of the publishing and a percentage of PPD. What TrackLib has done is they've tried to pre-clear, and I think we're almost up to 100,000 songs. And we're hoping by the end of 2019 that we'll double or triple that with the stems and everything. And then when you go into the site, you're digging through the electronic crate just like you do now, just like if you're on YouTube or iTunes or Spotify. You're digging through their crates. If you're looking for a certain sound, a certain BPM, a certain, I mean, they've got Chinese music. We've got Bollywood music in there. We've got Brazilian music. We have stuff out of South Africa. We have stuff from all over the world. So it might not have what you've already sampled, but if you're a good producer, pull out the sample you can't afford, go into TrackLib, dig through the crates, and create something new with those beats. And I say that all the time. I have these people like, oh, I use these beats and I can't change it. You know what? If you're a really good producer, you should be able to make a beat from anything. Just saying. Keep sampling. I love it. I'm never going to tell someone to stop. If you don't have the money, I used to say create something new. Now I can say go onto TrackLib so that you can still be creative and do what you want to do. I'm sure you're going to give my email address and my website, because we are educational, so we always respond to people's questions. So people can't always afford me, although my fees are right there on my website. We do like to give people advice. I say keep making that music, keep making those beats, keep sampling, so that it's always going to be around.